was really just a week ago. Yeah.
Was.
Yeah. And how you been?
I bit the side of my mouth.
Yeah? Tell us about it. What happened? What'd you do?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was getting a meal deal from the co-op where you get a nice sandwich, you get a Dairy Lee Dunker or a pepperami, and you get a bottle of pop.
Wait. Did you say pepperoni?
A meal. Yeah. No, pepperami.
Pepperami?
Yeah, it's like a weird, angry, spicy sausage in foil.
I don't know what that is. Pepperami.
Oh, the advert's brilliant for it if you ever find that on YouTube. It's like an angry sausage kicking off because it wants to come out of its wrapper.
I only know about pepperoni.
It's a bit like that.
Huh? Yeah?
It kind of tastes a bit like it, but spicy. And in sausage form. Small sausage form.
Yeah, when I look it up, I only see a plant. Pepperami plants.
Oh, if I could get a plant, that'd be great that made pepperami. I'd love
that. A meat-making plant?
Yeah. But yeah, I was eating my meal deal and it bit my mouth. I was eating my sandwich too grotesquely, wow. I think must have been the words. I don't know. My face and my sandwich just went into one and here we go. Here we are. Now it stings.
Nice. All right. Well, nothing like adding a little blood to your meal, I guess. Yeah. Well, that is the worst, though. When you like bite your cheek or burn your mouth. I think burning your mouth is the worst.
Oh, I always do that on pizza and soup because I can't wait.
Right? Same here, yeah. And then you burn, and then it like ruins the rest of the meal. It's like over by then. And you're like, I don't even want to eat anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst. And then, and you bite your cheek or something, and it's like the same thing as burning your mouth. It lasts like 3 or 4 days, and you're just like, life sucks. Yeah. I'll have to keep a lookout for that. But would you pepperami?
Yeah, pepperami.
Anybody else heard of that before? That's a British thing, or what is that?
I don't know. I've never known anyone that's not heard of pepperami.
It's like your guys' spotted dick. Do you guys really eat that? That's a dessert, right?
I've never had it, but okay. I'm not a dessert person, so.
All right. I remember what was that movie, John Goodman, King Ralph came out. That was, I love that. Yeah, that was so hilarious. Such a great movie. How accurate is it? Is it very accurate?
Yeah, probably quite. Yeah. I think that would be like you if you came to visit me.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have no doubt.
We could get you a little crown as well and pretend that you're part of the royal family.
I would love it. Yeah, a little Burger King crown.
Yeah. Oh no, because there's no Burger King near me.
Oh, there isn't. Okay, well.
So we'd have
KFC crown.
One. KFC crown, just a chicken bucket on your head like a hat.
There's a musician out here called Buckethead where he wears a KFC bucket on his head. So
that's awesome. We have a guy called, I think he's called Lord Bucket now. I can't remember, but he keeps running for mayor in London. And he wears like a bucket on his head that looks a bit like Darth Vader.
Oh, that's funny. There is a guy, I think it's New York or DC or something out here. His name is like Vermin something. It's like this old homeless guy, or appears to be anyways, who keeps running for president every year or like every 4 years. And it's just hilarious. I don't know.
Oh, he'll get there one day.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. He's got notoriety over it, but I don't think anybody's ever going to really vote for him.
You think that, but then you end up with the monster raving loony party.
That's true.
We actually had them.
Yeah,
I think people were scared of how many people were voting for them at one point.
Yeah, it's true because I would have never in a million years thought that Trump would be elected, but there we were, and here we are probably again. He'll probably get elected again. It's just a strange world. But
get the bucket guy. He sounds
The
fun.
bucket guy.
Yeah.
Buckethead for president.
Yeah, buckethead for president. Nobody wears pin badges. They all just put buckets on their head.
Right? Yeah. Well,
I think if I did PR for that guy, he'd be like the president.
Oh yeah, it'd be like you ever seen what the heck is that movie? Oh my goodness, I can't even think of it now. It's made by the guy that did Beavis and Butthead. Oh my goodness, I can't think of it right now. Anyway, moving on. Some other day.
Moving on. It's just like that film. We can't remember. Bye.
Yeah, can't remember it. It'll pop into my head eventually at some point. But anyway, all right, I guess we better get into the drink for tonight before I start mentioning other things that I can't remember. All right, so I don't know. This is kind of a fruity drink. It doesn't really go with its name too well, but you know, who knows? Who knows what happens after you drink this one? This is called the Neon Nightmare.
Oh,
yeah. And this consists of, and help me out here with the pronunciations, a 1/4 ounce of blue caraco liquor.
what?
Is that
I
correct?
thought you were saying carrot.
Curacao. I think it's caraco. Curacao.
I've got no idea. We're not putting cows in drinks, are we?
No. Well, there are some with milk. Blue, 1/4 ounce blue caraco liquor, 3.5 ounces of pineapple juice, a 1/2 ounce of Midori melon liquor, and 1.25 ounce of Malibu coconut rum. So it's a fairly sweet drink. And it is, let's see how you make it. You combine the ingredients into a mixing tin full of ice, shake vigorously until the ice sounds different.
There we go.
It's been a while.
It has.
And you strain it into a hurricane glass, which I'm conflicted. I'm not sure what.
Did we figure that out?
I see a hurricane glass that, like, I don't know, when I look it up, it's different in different pictures. Some of them like will show it as like the hourglass looking, you know, like the drink that, you know, you'd get in like a big like fruity drink, like it's like kind of shaped like an hourglass. And then I see other ones that look more like a schooner glass, but also like a tiki glass as well. So I don't know. I guess.
So any glass, basically.
Yeah, it seems like. So I don't know, but I think
it looks like a pina colada glass.
Yeah. I think that's what it's meant to be in. Yeah.
Oh, I've just found one that looks like a pineapple. That's cool. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so I think that it's that hourglass kind of shaped one. But yeah, so you shake it till the ice sounds different, and you pour it into your hurricane glass, and you garnish it with a orange flag, which I guess is like an orange wheel or a half cut sliced orange thing. I did find an alternative recipe for this as well. So this one has pineapple juice, but also has you can use sour apple pucker, which I'm guessing is sort of like a maybe like a apple schnapps or something. I'm not really sure.
Oh, is that like a syrupy, appley thing?
Yeah, I think that has liquor in it. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that's what it is. And this one you would garnish with a cherry.
Oh, bin that off.
So this one's got a few, you know, because you got the coconut, you've got the melon, you've got the apple or sour apple, and the pineapple and cherry. So this one's got a few additional flavors in there, which
basically anything they found lying around left over in the fridge, they've got, put this in.
Yeah, any sort of fruit with sugar in it.
Mm-hmm. Cranberry juice, whack that in, love. I'm sure it'd be fine. It's the same colour as the cherry.
All right. So yeah, but it sounds good. It sounds like that might be a fun, like drink if you're hanging out on a beach and it's not, 12 degrees outside, like I'm sure it is over there at your house right now.
Oh, bloody freezing. I've got my dressing gown on.
I don't know what that is. Dressing gown?
What?
Like
you don't? Oh, come on. You don't know what a dressing gown is?
I don't know. Like a robe, right?
You're having me on.
I'm not. What is it?
What do you wear when you're cold and you've got your pajamas on and you've got your extra little...
I mean...
Yeah, I guess you'd call it like a fluffy robe. No. You see, you double layer when you're cold. You have your pajamas, you have your dressing gown, and then you have your blanket and your fluffy socks.
Well, you're a master of cold weather. I'm not. I live in California, so it's like I'm, I just throw a blanket on or a sweatshirt.
Show
I'm
off.
good with that. A dressing gown. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, a dressing gown. It's like if a towel was made into like an overcoat.
So it's like those Huggies or whatever, like those blankets with the arm sleeves.
Well, yeah, but you don't have a dressing gown. That's just weird.
I don't know. You have I don't know. Maybe we do.
What do you have when you get out the bath or the shower that you put on? Don't say
Just a
bloody
robe.
towel.
Just a robe.
It's a robe. Is it like thin and silky?
What? No. I mean, I guess for some women it would be. I mean, no, it'd be like kind of thicker, like a towel-ish. I don't really use one, but
Yeah, so it's like that, but imagine really, really ridiculously fluffy.
Okay. Interesting.
With a hood.
With a hood.
And pockets.
And pockets. All right. Do you wear this out and about when you're doing chores?
Some people do. Some people go to the supermarket in their pajamas. I don't. Because my pajamas are too good for shopping.
That's your Sunday best, right? Your pajamas?
That's my Sunday. Hey, my dressing gown is James T. Kirk's Star Trek uniform. Oh, yes, it is.
So you got a mustard yellow. Okay.
Yep, with Star Trek insignia on the right side.
Nice.
It says Kirk on the back, just in case anyone forgets.
Anyone who forgets, okay.
Yeah. My last one was a Captain America one, so it had the big Captain America shield on the back, and then like the arms was the uniform. But well, badass when I wore that. I was ready to kick off.
Oh my goodness! So you have multiple dressing gowns?
Yeah, I do. And Street has an Only Fools and Horses one, which I don't know whether you've watched that, but it's
What
like
is it?
Del Boy's coat.
What is it called?
Only Fools and Horses, the TV show. There's a character in it called Del Boy, and Street's got like his coat as a dressing gown. It's dead groovy.
Oh, interesting. All right. You guys are gonna have to dress up and send me a picture of that because I'm
I was going
curious
to I feel like we've got to take pictures to just sort of like describe this more accurately to you.
Yeah, definitely do that. That'll be hilarious. We'll have to put that up on the website or something.
Show the world my pajamas and dressing gown.
Oh yeah, it's got to happen. I think you owe me a picture already of something. I can't remember what it is. So you're lucky.
I think I probably do.
So you got to send me a picture of the pepperami.
Yes. You know what? I'll send Lily to the shop tomorrow morning and get a pepperami because we need to send this to Jason.
And a family photo in dressing gowns.
Dressing gowns holding a pepperami.
We gotta have Ian do a painting of you guys in a dressing gown. So it's like one of those paintings you hang over the fireplace.
Sat in a chair, just instead of like having a cigarette, we just have a pepperami in our hands.
Gosh, that'd be hilarious. We need that.
Well, that's your Christmas present sorted, isn't it?
There you go. I will put that over my fireplace.
Shoney's having nightmares every day. Paint the picture, yeah. Jason.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys, that's your Neon Nightmare cocktail. We hope you enjoy it. It's a very sweet drink for this very, very dark film that we're about to talk about. And here's the trailer for tonight's film.
Right this way, folks. This creature, there he is, the geek. Is he man or beast?
See those yokels out there? It gives you sort of a superior feeling, as if you were in the know and they were on the outside looking in.
Molly was telling me about that code you and Pete used to use in vaudeville. I was thinking that if Pete got sick or something, why, I could work from the audience just like he used to.
For my dead body, she will.
Pete? Come on, Pete. Pete, answer me.
Maybe it's the best thing that could have happened. I've got the code. You know it as well as I do. And I've got you.
This question. Can you tell me how it is signed?
It is signed with the initial R.
That's right.
How did you happen to know so much about me?
That fellow you were with, the maitre d' says he's a pretty big guy in this town.
You realize what you've got here. We could set this town on its ear. See someone standing between me and that lady. She wants to speak to you. She says...
You're making a mistake. Stan, turn that card over and we'll see how it'll end up.
Stanton Carlyle, known as the Great Stanton Nightclub Mentalist, fell into a deep trance during his act in a nightclub. Before doing so, he was able to talk to and see, so he claims, the departed daughter of a famous Chicago society woman.
But you can't do that. I mean, you told Mrs. Peabody nobody could.
Darling, forgive me. Forgive me, darling. I believe now. I believe everything.
We don't want to take any chances. This thing's too big.
He's nothing but an uncommonly shrewd young trickster.
All these things that you think you have done lately, or that have been done to you, are merely the fancied guilt of your past life projected on the present. You must regard it all as a nightmare.
When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me, make me sway, like the lazy ocean hosts the shore. Hold me close, sway me more.
All right, that was the trailer for the 1947 film Nightmare Alley. Nightmare Alley is an American film noir directed by Edmund Golding, from a screenplay by Jules Firthman.
From a guy.
Jules Firthman. It's based on William Lindsay Grisham's 1946 novel of the same name. And I think we've talked about this before, where a lot of these books come out and like almost instantaneously are turned into films, like sometimes less than a year later. And that seems like sort of like a commonality between that time period and our time period now. It seems almost like books are they've always sort of been a commodity in Hollywood, but it seems like it's even more so kind of right now. I think, with the Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, and like there's so many books being turned into movies. And it seems like that was a huge thing back then in the 40s as well. So not even a year later, Nightmare Alley comes out based on the 46 novel. And it's just, I think that's crazy that they go into production that quickly. And what's unique about this film, though, is it stars Tyrone Power, who was a big swashbuckling star at the time. And most noirs didn't feature very well-known A-list actors, so to speak, except for, like maybe the Bogart films, things like that. But this was sort of a big budgeted noir film. But I guess before we get into too much, and before I forget, because that's pretty common for me to do, is we need to have Carly do her in a nutshell synopsis.
Ha ha.
Dun, dun, dun. And now it's time for Carly's super famous in a nutshell synopsis.
Are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Okay. A film where one conversation gives away the entire plot.
What? Okay.
Do you like it?
I think so. I'm not sure yet because I'm not sure what conversation. Tell me what the conversation is. Where did it? Yeah.
So with Stan and Pete, when they had that ridiculously overlong conversation about how he came to be what he was being and blah, 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 blah. Basically, that's the film.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He's telling him he didn't listen. What Pete said happened. The end.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But we get to see it though, because he doesn't go into super depth though. Right?
Oh, I mean,
it's
to
just
be honest,
the basis.
I preferred the conversation to the actual seeing it, if I'm honest.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with that. That's interesting. I mean, I guess it does tell you the film, but that's just sort of that history repeating itself, sort of like warning, foreshadowing, I guess. Maybe it's heavy foreshadowing. I don't know. But
yeah, it's like the ghost of Christmas past before he was a ghost.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, and that makes sense though. But, yeah. All right. But that takes place like what? 40 minutes into the movie.
Oh, I don't know. I lost all sense of time.
Yeah, it's got to be like at least 30, 40 minutes into the movie. So it's not like, it has a good amount of setup before that. Right? I think so anyways. Well, all right. Whatever. I know where we're headed on this one. Carly destroys another classic film.
Oh, do you know what I found really exciting? Right.
That you like Tyrone Power's eyeliner?
What a name! Tyrone Power. And I was thinking, oh, that's brilliant. That is such a commanding stage name.
Oh, yeah?
He has the best name ever.
I'm sure it's probably fake, I would think.
I don't care. I don't care if it's fake or real. I think it's brilliant. Tyrone Power.
I guess so. It's a little odd. A little odd. Yeah. It was his real name, apparently. Tyrone Edmund Power III.
That's even better. That's brilliant. I really like that.
Yeah.
And I really liked him. Yes,
right.
as well.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was all right. I thought he was better than, well, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. For the folks at home, we're going to also follow this up with the remake of Nightmare Alley. So I guess I'll say I did enjoy Tyrone Power better than Bradley Cooper. But again, I don't know if that was necessarily the actor's fault or what it is. But anyway, so did you know anything about Nightmare Alley going into this?
No,
Have you seen
I
it
didn't.
before? Okay.
No, this was totally brand new.
All right. Had you heard of it before? Like at all?
No. Do you know, I couldn't place it. I'd be lying if I said that I could have placed it before.
Because I had heard of it. I had never seen it before. I had never read the book. And I had never seen the movie. But I've heard of it. And I don't know, for some reason I don't care for like circus or carny style movies for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't have a good reason why. I just don't. For whatever reason, they're just not interesting to me in general. So I never like felt the need to watch this movie, even though I knew it was like considered a classic, noir film. And I most people say it's like very different, but I don't know. I just never really had a need to watch it, I guess, because I guess Freaks is another one that I have seen, but again, it's not like, oh, this is amazing. But because I don't know, I just got this weird, like, sort of like, I'm not really interested in carnival films.
Oh.
But I don't know, whatever. Yeah, like how did you feel about the setup or the carnival aspect to it? Like,
liked it, actually.
Mm.
I quite enjoyed it. But I sat through a Lou Diamond Phillips film where he was at the carnival, so...
What was that?
God, is it called Carney? I think it might actually be called Carney. And it's got Lou Diamond Phillips in it. You know, when he went through his, 90s period of just being in strange shit.
I mean, that's his whole career, isn't it?
Hey, Courage Under Fire is a bloody good film.
I'd have to rewatch that. I know I've seen it, but I really liked him in The First Power. I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah, he did have some good, but he had some, let's face it, he had bats. I mean, come on, he did bats.
I like
and then
bats,
did,
actually.
5 other different versions of bats, except it wasn't bats, it was snakes or something, whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked bats. I don't know. Dimension was doing a lot of movies at the time, and I thought that was pretty cool. But I didn't, I wouldn't say I watched it because of Lou Diamond Phillips. I mean, for me, he was just, La Bamba guy, or
there's nothing wrong with being that.
No, there's not. But I mean, that was like his.
I feel like I really want to go da la 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 la, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like an actor that never really broke out of his first big role, and he got stuck with that. And whenever you see him, it's like, oh, it's the La Bamba guy, or it's the what was the Western Young Guns? Yeah, those are the things. So. I don't know, whatever.
Well, he follows me on Twitter, so I'm going to tell him you said that.
I did tell you I sat next to him at lunch, right? When we were at...
Yeah, you did, you bastard. Where's my autograph? Where's my message from him saying, I love you, Carly, thanks for the support. You're welcome, mate.
Right. Him and Jason Patrick and Kiefer Sutherland, yeah.
Well, you can keep Jason Patrick. I'm not interested in him.
Oh, he's cool, though. I think he's good.
No, he's not. He was in Speed 2. He's the least cool person on the planet.
I didn't think that was that bad. Yeah, but have you seen...
for God's sake, on a speedboat, no.
Was the movie Narc? Is that what it was called? I can't remember.
No, is it Narc or Narc? Yeah, I think I know which one you mean.
Yeah, he's in some good stuff, man. Lost Boys. I don't know. He's cool.
Kiefer Sutherland carried that. Next.
Oh, okay. I'd say Corey Haim carried it, but that's whatever. What do I know?
I quite liked it. We were talking about the carnival aspect. I really liked it. Yeah, and I really enjoyed all the time it was set at the carnival. I think my issue was when it went away from the carnival is where I started to lose interest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. That didn't really bother me too much in the film, but I don't know. Even it reminded me a lot of The Mentalist, which I'm sure The Mentalist, is sort of a homage to this.
Yeah,
in a way.
I got that a little bit as well.
Yeah, because I mean, his whole backstory is the carnival as well, which makes sense with the whole psychic ability kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it seems like it was borrowed pretty heavily from this, because just the whole family sort of dynamic, and the 47 film really had that sort of close knit sort of group family dynamic, which I don't know. I guess that was a good part of it. But also you could this guy is like an outsider, they don't even if it, the movie itself is doesn't set him up as an outsider, I guess per se, he's not quite close knit as the rest of them. And then, and then when they find out that he's, messing around with, whatever the heck her name is, the electrocution lady.
The woman that electrocutes herself every 3 hours.
Right. That was one of the, when we get to that scene, that's, another 30 minutes into the movie or whatever. I thought that whole forcing them to get...
They were going to kill him. Yeah, they were going to kill him if he said no.
Yeah, it's really strange, right? I felt that was so odd. Forcing them to get married, and it's such a quick kind of scene, like I'm going to choke you till you say yes.
Yeah. And then next, let's get it ordained. Somebody come over here and read these words out. Toast.
It was such an odd scene, but I don't know. I guess it was like their way of like just breaking into the second half of the movie with the them moving on and becoming celebrities and all that kind of stuff. Which again, I know you have a problem with that, but I didn't really have a problem. It seemed like a natural progression because they set this guy up as being super ambitious. And that's all he cares about is money and power, hence his last name, I guess. But
I think it just felt like not a lot was happening. And the scenes were so long. They felt really long. So it felt like really long scenes of just people talking and nothing happening.
Yeah, I do agree with you when they would show them in like the ballrooms doing their show. Like they were really, it felt like they were trying to convince the audience, like us watching the film, that this guy is really great at his job kind of thing. But it was just like, we know it's a script. We know it's just, reciting words from scripts. So it's not like we're actually watching a mentalist show. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of that could have been cut out. You could have only seen like one scene of it and it would have been fine, or, whatever it is, but they were so wordy and so long. But yeah, that was a drawback.
When they were at the carnival and they were doing the spirit questions, that was sufficient. You got to see how they were doing it, how she kind of played people, how the crowd reacted, how he reacted to her doing it. It was perfect. And then when we went into these little, like, these bar scenes where they were doing these big shows, and it just never seemed to end. They were saying the same thing over and over again, but with different people or different objects. We get it.
Right. And that was one of my issues with the whole code book, is that, well, the way the code book works is depending on what she says, it's basically telling him what the object is. But when she's saying basically the same words, every time, it like doesn't make any sense, because how could she possibly be telling him what the object is if it's the same freaking words? It doesn't make,
you said, and I know 15 times.
Yeah, they added the whole point of the code being also inflection, which, okay, I got that, but her inflection also seemed the same. Even when they pointed that part out, and then cut to her supposedly having a different inflection, it seemed the same to me. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like since they set it up at the carnival already, that they could have drastically cut those down or not even shown them at all. They could have just shown, like, they could have just went into the scene where the older couple or whatever was there, or even where the psychiatrist lady was asking the question. They could have just went right into that. Maybe shown like one setup of a question and answer before that, and then gone into the psychiatrist, and it would have been fine. And we wouldn't have had those long drawn out scenes, but just to give you a bit of a refresher and that kind of thing. But I think that was probably the biggest drawback on this one, as far as length, because it was a fairly long movie. I think it was like an hour and 50 minutes, almost 2 hours.
Yeah, that was the issue for me. It's, even though a lot kind of happened plot wise. Somebody died, somebody got married, somebody moved away and had a whole like vaudeville show. It's just so excruciatingly long. Yeah.
True. Now, did you know that he died fairly young?
No.
Tyrone Powers? Yeah. I guess he died in 1958.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he was, I know I'm getting off topic here, but I guess he was shooting a movie, Solomon and Sheba. And they had like 75% of his scenes shot already, and he had a heart attack while he was doing like some sort of dueling scene. I don't know.
Well, what a shame.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. That's pretty, and I guess at the height of his stardom, really.
Yeah. Well, I did find with this, if I'm honest, I was watching him, not the film.
Well, that sounds like
towards the end. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I thought I did think he was really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I didn't. I mean, he was okay. It worked. It's I guess, his.
You can tell, though, that he's a bit more of a bigger Hollywood star than what you normally get in film noir, though, can't you? When he starts, sometimes it's a little bit like Shakespearean when he's delivering lines and stuff, and you think, calm down, it's film noir, love.
Yeah. That's, and that's kind of, I don't know. I have that problem with most like A-list actors. Like they play themselves more than they're like actually playing a character, and so I never really consider them to be great actors, just because they're, because I mean, come on, let's face it. Most of those people that become A-list actors are generally that way because they're pretty, and that's why they're on screen. That's why they're in these big movies, kind of thing. And that's, it doesn't make them a good actor. I mean, if you look at somebody like Gary Oldman or something like that, or even like Edward Robinson, you know what I mean? It's like, those are real actors to me. But somebody like that, he was fine. Played the part. I mean, he's got to be what he is to be, that, good at his job and charming, and, be able to command a room like this character does. So it makes sense. But I wouldn't say that was like, oh, he's so fantastic, because I didn't care.
That doesn't sound like you not caring about an actor. It's a good job I'm here to look after them, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was the equivalent of me watching like a Tom Cruise movie. Like, I could give a shit,
Oh, see, that's the difference between you and me. I don't watch Tom Cruise films.
Well, I don't either.
He could do Sherlock Holmes in a tutu, and I wouldn't watch it.
I don't really either, but there's certain ones that I think are worth watching, but I mean, for instance, the first Mission Impossible movie, I thought was really good, because it wasn't necessarily like the Tom Cruise show. It was an ensemble cast. It wasn't
the Tom Cruise show.
Well, script and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which the rest of them became, what kind of crazy stunt can he do, on his own?
What building is he climbing up now?
Right. Yeah. So it's like, but there's a few, like, I really like, Color of Money, which was like the sequel to The Hustler. Maybe some of his earlier work, Rain Man.
If you say Top Gun, I'm going to punch you through the phone.
I do think Top Gun is a pretty good movie.
Oh.
It's got its issues, but it's pretty good, for an 80s film. And I mean, you can't really argue about those jet scenes, man. Those are pretty amazing. I'm not a big military. I
like the soundtrack.
Kenny Loggins, yeah. All right.
Yeah, man. He's the king of soundtracks. We need him for something. Oh, if Kenny's singing, it's bloody banging.
All right. Speaking of music, I did notice in this film there wasn't a whole hell of a lot of music.
No.
But when they did have it, it was like it was very appropriate, darker kind of stuff, opposed to what I think would normally hear in like noirs. Most noirs will have that sort of nightclub big band kind of stuff going on, or orchestrated. And this seemed a little darker toned and more fitting, more modern, I guess I would say, music in this film.
It's a very dark story, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah. It really is. It really is. This whole like, I did look up the music a bit, but I didn't look up the whole geek thing. I wonder if that was like a real thing in carnivals at the time. But that's like, I mean, wow. It's so messed up.
Yeah, like, that's awful.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just such a strange...
Yeah, but you can imagine people doing that, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because people are messed up.
Yeah, people are horrible, so...
Yep.
When I started writing the synopsis in a nutshell, I'd only just started watching the film, and I was going to put it as Geeks Rule, and then very quickly realised that is not the case.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Do you think this pushed the boundaries a little bit with the geek character and like how they treat him and what they do?
I mean, I think for the time it did. And I do know that when it came out, there was a lot of like sort of, there was the, what do you call it? The code, like films, even like we have today, the MPAA sort of thing. But back then it was like much more strict. There's a lot of the darker elements from the novel that they couldn't put in the film. So I think in a way that they were, but there's so much that they didn't show. Without jumping ahead into our next episode, you know what I mean? It's like really hard. I would end up talking more about this in the next episode when we talk about the new version of the film. But I do think that they were pushing the envelope, but I don't think they were really allowed to push it as far as they could have. But I think that's a good thing. Like, I don't think that was necessarily bad. I think a lot of times with film, there's this sort of like concept of like with film, it's show, not tell kind of thing. But doesn't mean you have to show everything.
No,
it's kind of like those,
a lot of time less is more.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially like those low budget, like horror films where you don't see the monster through the whole thing. It's like, it's effective, because then when you do get to see it, it's the payoff sort of thing. And I think it's the same thing in this sort of scenario where we don't need to see him eat the chicken head or whatever it is, like, things like that. Like, we don't, no,
we don't.
Yeah.
We do not.
It's almost better to imagine it than to have to see it, unless it's just for shock value, which some directors want to do that just for shock value and make people like gross out. But I don't think that was necessary at all. And I think that, I don't know a whole lot about the carnival or things like that, and whether these things, I mean, you hear stories, but you don't know how sensationalized it is. Like, were there really people like that? Did they really sort of kidnap homeless people that were drunk and, make them do that for a bottle of whiskey a day? Or is that just sort of like a tall tale kind of thing? Like, I don't know what the truth of that is, but you kind of assume that as poor as people were back then, that would be very easily that could very easily have been done and exploited. So I don't know if that's really a thing or not. I would like to know, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was. And I think that by not showing certain things, that they were pushing the envelope just by, I mean, really it's the book that pushed the envelope, and then the film by including it, but not necessarily having to fully show what was going on, I think was a good choice. And I don't know that it was the director's choice or if it was just a matter of, they weren't allowed to. Like, I'm curious, like, what they would have done, because there's other
there was
it might just have been the censorship, or it might have been maybe he would have chose not to do that anyway, because there's other choices that they did that didn't follow the book that weren't necessarily about censorship. There are many things that they couldn't do because of censorship, but even like the ending of the movie is very different than the book. As to where this is one of the few film noirs that ends up with a happy ending, I guess, so to speak, which is odd because the movie is so very dark. But we do get to see an ending that is
got a ray of hope.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know that's necessarily a ray of hope per se, but
I don't think he's going to let him live in a cage anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not necessarily a ray of hope, but it's not as dark as it could have been. Because his life is done at that point. So he's not necessarily. I wouldn't say like anybody deserves that. So I hear like people talk about, he gets what he deserves kind of thing, or he feels like he gets what he deserves, or that sort of thing. I don't think anybody deserves that, except for maybe the worst of human beings. And he wasn't the worst of human beings. He was just
He was just a greedy man, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
that
did
had
some
nothing
bad.
and got something.
Yeah, he did some bad things, but it wasn't like, I mean, it certainly wasn't as awful as it could have been. He didn't hurt anybody in a unrecoverable manner, I guess you could say. And so I think that was a very, that if she wasn't there,
showing him a fake ghost.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's like,
I don't know if that's recoverable.
Well, let's face it, that guy has got some issues to begin with, right?
Produce me a ghost now. I want an apparition.
Right. So anybody who sort of falls into that, especially that person of their wealth and stature, I don't really feel that bad for them, because they're asking for it, right? In a lot of ways, just like the lead character, stands asking for it. So it's hard to like really feel bad for him, except for that fate is so inhumane, right? So it's, I thought it was a good call in this film to end it with that. And, as you said, with a sort of a ray of hope, but I don't really call that hope. It's just more of like a less severe fate, because he's basically going to end up like, whatever the guy was that, he inadvertently killed, with the alcohol.
Pete.
I can't think of Pete. Right?
Yeah. Pete.
Yeah. So, I mean, he basically is going to end up like Pete, right? That's his real fate. That's, Pete didn't end up as a geek, right? So that to me, that worked pretty well as an ending, because with that scene where you were talking about that was overly long and tells you the whole story, that ending works perfectly in line with that. As to where if they follow the original book and his fate is, just as a geek the rest of his life till he drinks himself to death, that's not exactly the same as what Pete's story was, and is overtly dark in my opinion, for this guy. There's other characters and other stories that probably, might deserve as harsh of an ending as that, but I don't necessarily think that he does, So, yeah, before we give a rating on this movie, is there anything else that you want to discuss? Was any surprises in this film, or were you surprised by the twist with the psychiatrist?
Yeah, I was a little bit, to be fair. And I thought that the ghost scene was just so scary. I thought that was really well done. One of the best scenes that I've seen for a while. Although I did really want him to throw him in the water fountain, if I'm honest, because that's a horrible thing to do.
Throw him in the water fountain?
Yeah, well, they were getting proper close to the edge, and I thought, shove him in, mate. Just shove him in and bash his head in.
Jesus.
And he didn't. So, there we go.
Right. Those damn censorship rules.
Oh, yeah. God damn you all.
There's no water fountain throwing.
But I didn't like that she didn't get her comeuppance properly.
Yeah. Women rarely did in these kinds of movies unless they're like kind of the star. And I don't necessarily know that bothered me too much, because let's face it, she's a bit naive. She should know what's this guy's doing, what he's about. She's still stuck around. Why did she do that? Why did she play the ghost? Why did she allow that to happen? She was ready to leave.
No,
she
not her. I meant the doctor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about her. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I agree with that, but I don't know how she really would have, per se. I guess, I do know how she would have because of the new movie, but it's probably in the book too. I'm not really sure, but I don't know that like this, I don't know. It didn't bother me, I guess, in this film, Like, to me, it was just sort of like, was his path at that point, and it didn't really matter.
I suppose it's the people that you meet on the journey and how you react to them. That's the whole point of it. But, I wasn't a fan of her. I did quite like how smart she was. And I thought she's actually one of the few characters that's outsmarted, well and truly outsmarted a bloke.
Yeah.
In these films. Maybe that's why she didn't get any comeuppance, because she kind of earned the title and deserved the right to keep the money.
Yeah, and I think she says something to that effect, like in one of their like kind of meetings where I can't remember exactly what she says, but she says something about like, not being able to lose or outsmart. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it was, but she sort of alludes to like her ability to outsmart people. And I mean, that's exactly what she does. And I mean,
truly.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people might think it is sort of like a twist ending, but I don't know. For me, I see it coming a mile away kind of thing. And especially, I think the clincher is really where they show her recording the sessions.
I did think it was very stupid that he was keeping it in her safe.
Yeah, I mean,
who
like,
does that? Person that I've met for 2 weeks, would you like all of this stash of money that you can keep in your safe?
Yeah, it's a little strange. I mean, I understand it, but I do agree. I don't think that I would do that. Also, it's a little strange that she's like, I don't want a cut of the money. That's like kind of a red flag.
Lies.
Yeah.
Lies.
And
she said she doesn't want a cut because she's taking it all.
Sure. And can you was there even home record recording? Like, was that a thing? Like, I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Could you record directly to a record at home? Because that's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. It was like one of those things where as soon as they showed that, I knew that was going to happen. So it wasn't a huge twist to me. I knew she was setting him up. She was learning about him, whatever, and something was going to come down to it. But yeah, the money and her safe thing was kind of strange, but who knows? Characters in noirs do a lot of strange things that normal people wouldn't necessarily do. I guess he just didn't want his wife to find it, or I don't know what. I mean, do these people not use banks back then? I don't know. I guess after the Great Depression, there was no trust in banks. So,
maybe, to be fair.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they're only like 10 years away from that at that point, or so. Yeah, so I don't know.
Books. They need hollowed out books.
Right.
I want a whole library. If I ever won the lottery or something, I want like a whole library of hollowed out books.
Mm-hmm.
Just full of stuff. Not money, just random shit.
Book.
Yeah, like 50p. Or like fake passports for other people. So then people are like, oh, I've got this like freaky secret.
Somebody finds one, they're just like, what the hell?
Yes, that's what I want. And then when I die, I want people to waste their time figuring out my hollowed out books.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. Ha, in your face. There's nothing there.
I love that.
Yeah.
How can we work that?
For money, there ain't nothing there.
We need to work that into a movie somehow. It's hilarious. I think that's so funny.
Definitely. And both of our wills.
Right? Oh, man. That's funny. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Anyone that knew me would know the real shit was in the filing cabinets.
Right. It's in the top drawer.
Alphabetically organised.
Right. All right, Carly. I guess it's time to rate this. I'm curious what your rating is, so you go first.
Okay. This was quite tricky to rate for me because I wanted to be fair, even though I was bored out my skull for a little portion. But there was quite a lot of things that I liked. So I went with a 5.
Oh.
Yeah, I hovered between a 5 and a 6.
Not a 4.
No, not 4. 5 and a 6. Because I really love how dark and twisted the theme and the story is.
Mm-hmm.
But I got took out of so much of the film from just unnecessary, just talking.
Yeah, too much exhibition. Yeah.
Yeah, that by the time it sort of rolled back round to that, I felt like I'd missed a bit because I was zoning in and out, which is very possible as well. Because I really, really loved, again, when it sort of like circled back to the carnival and Stan started to look like Pete.
Yeah.
And he'd started to pick up his habits. I think they made a comment about you'll have enough money to get yourself coffee or whatever. But he looked like Pete. And I thought, that's brilliant. That's an absolute stroke of brilliance to have him look like that character. And I kind of just wished that when the pair of them went off to do their act and then con people, I just wish that was a lot less. Because I think if that whole portion had been shorter, it would have been like a 9 or a 10. It just felt like it was darting off in every which way direction.
Right.
And I couldn't quite figure out what was going to stick.
I almost feel like if a modern movie...
If it had been a TV series, I feel like if it had been like a TV series, it would have been absolutely spot on. Because obviously with the book, there's a lot that they tried to bring in.
Mm-hmm.
But for a film, there was a lot going on, but not a lot going on.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, with the newer film, I would have expected like a newer film to maybe have started with them like in the city doing these big shows and then and then fallen back into exposing the carnival aspect to it and seeing all the backstory and stuff kind of come into play. And that might have maybe fixed that scenario for you had it not started with the carnival, which I know you felt was more interesting, but gave it a different sort of vibe, right? So it had started in the city and all that other stuff going on. Maybe you would have been more into it and then would have been more interesting when the backstory came into play instead of just seeing first. 'Cause I always find that sort of an interesting sort of concept when they do that, when it's just sort of like laid out linear like that. I think it's harder to make those transitions between, those, styles really. Because it's just like people transition from different periods in their life into new things. And it's hard to do that in a film because you're seeing this and expecting it in a certain way. And then it jumps, even like Psycho, Psycho's kind of like that where, in a crime heist sort of thing. And then all of a sudden it's a horror film, or From Dusk Till Dawn, it's kind of the same thing where it's like a lot of people had a problem with that, where it's like this crime movie. And then all of a sudden it's a vampire film and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then this is a carnival movie. And then all of a sudden it's a big city, hotshot movie. It's I guess that can be an issue. That's quite a bit lower than I thought you would give it, honestly.
Yeah, I feel really bad. I feel really mad at myself for doing it as well, because I think the actual story is one of the, like the whole cycle of the character from the geek at the beginning to how a person becomes a geek. I absolutely love that, and I think that's fantastic, and I think that's one of the best kind of things that I've seen. But I can't get over the fact of how mind-numbingly bored I was when it went to the big city and all of that stuff with conning people.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, well, I rated it a little bit higher than you. I'm going to give this movie a 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that it was pretty solid. It was sufficiently dark and creepy in a lot of ways, and it was very different sort of style noir. It sort of gets you away from that sort of detective femme fatale kind of film, which I thought was interesting. I'm not, like I said before, I'm not a huge fan of like the carnival sort of like aspect, but it was so interesting because it didn't, you know what I mean? They didn't like focus on like the hairy lady and the strong man and all, even though like certain things like the cheesy carnival stuff was in there. This whole geek thing was just kind of like, that's so crazy to me. That it was, you know, it made it interesting, but also like super dark, you know, because it's such a morality, maybe not even morality tale, but, you know, I'm not even exactly sure what you would call that, but, you know, and then the whole history repeating itself sort of aspect to it, I enjoy. So I didn't have a problem with the, you know, that sort of, exhibition of sort of telling the whole story there, so to speak. Cause I mean, part of the fun is seeing how this person's going to accept that information and, either overcome it or fall into the same, you know, sort of nightmare. And I did like, there's sort of one, I guess, saving grace factor to me is that he didn't purposely kill Pete. It was an accident.
It was yeah.
You know, although he probably shouldn't have given him any alcohol, the fact that he accidentally gave him the wrong bottle was sort of like okay, this guy isn't totally a bastard.
Yeah.
You know? So that I liked that aspect of it. And then him sort of realizing it and then hiding it. I almost feel like it was less sort of saving his butt kind of thing and more, I don't want to hurt anybody else, you know, any further, you know, and I thought that was also, I wouldn't say okay, but I thought that worked better than it totally being about him trying to, you know, save himself kind of thing, because that seemed like that would be typical of that character. But he really seemed like he felt bad about it and that kind of thing. And again, I didn't mind the transition into the city and showing those big shows, but I do agree that they were overtly long and could have been less of the actual shows. Because there was nothing really different about it other than people dressed better in a bigger ballroom setting. You know, it was basically the same thing as in the carnival of what they're doing. Just, you know, him doing the mentalist act instead of doing the questions, you know. So it could have been a lot less. And I think I knocked it down a gen because of the twists. I don't think were overtly twisty. I think they were pretty obvious, and you know, we were gonna figure that out pretty easily. You know, somebody comes into the picture like that with that kind of power and all that kind of stuff, you know, what's going to happen kind of, I mean, in my mind anyways, you know, if she's recording other people, she's going to record him. She knows she's going to use it against him, all that kind of stuff. So, and he's not exactly a faithful person. So, you know, he's going to get involved with her and, you know, then there's going to be drama between him and the wife and he's going to still need her for something. That's exactly what happened. So, you know, and that's probably just, you know, issues that come from the original book, not necessarily from the movie, but, you know, I think that, you know, those are elements they maybe should have masked a little better, made them a little more interesting or changed them enough to where it weren't so obvious. So it's not, you know, by far for me, it's not a perfect film, but I thought it worked pretty well and it was sufficiently dark. It was a very dark film. I think it's one of the darker noirs that I've seen. And I would say that, because it's like dark through the entire film. Like it's almost like it has that feel of, you know, the TV show Millennium, where it's like, there's such this sort of, repressive, like darkness through the whole thing. You know, even when something like dark isn't necessarily happening, it like you feel it watching this film, the entire thing is where most noirs has a sort of roller coaster kind of feel. And then it gets really dark at the end or starts out really dark, but you know what I mean? This one, like it felt dark through the whole thing. And that's
from the minute that you turn it on, something's going to go terribly wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Terribly wrong.
Yeah. And I think that's what really makes it stand apart and adds to its cult classic kind of status, I think. So yeah. All right. So a 7 for me. Solid 7. Yeah. And you did a 5, right? Is that what you said? A 5?
Yeah, 5.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all right. Can't win them all, Carly.
This is true.
Yeah. You seem to hate all the popular stuff. not
I've
even,
always been like that.
Not even Tyrone Power's eyeliner could save this film for Carly.
No, unfortunately not. And it tried bloody hard as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Groucho Marx.
The eyeliner was winking at me.
Yeah.
So
let's say, or the Groucho Marx eyebrows. All right, guys. We hope you enjoy your neon nightmare along with watching Nightmare Alley, 1947 film. And we're going to follow this up next week with the new Guillermo del Toro Nightmare Alley and see how it compares. All right, guys. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
He's looking at you, kid.
One marimba rhythm start to play.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Speakeasy Noircast. Make sure to visit our website, resurrectionfilms.net, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or any of your favorite podcast apps, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, The Dark Side of Acting Up, available now on Amazon, or you can check out one of our films available on Amazon Prime.